Clock reads 2 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Key messages for this upcoming week and weekend. We have an increasing risk for minor coastal flooding, mainly for east and southeast facing shores beginning Friday night, peaking on Saturday night and continuing into Sunday night as well. Highest inundation is expected to be about 1 to 2 feet in those areas, mainly along coastal Mississippi and Lake Bourne, and potentially even areas of Grand Isle as well, but mainly focusing on those east and southeast facing shores. We're also looking at a frontal system passing through over this weekend. Could cause some locally heavy rainfall that could cause some minor isolated flash flooding concerns, mainly for your urban and poor drainage areas. And this frontal system could also carry some stronger storms with it, especially on Sunday. We'll get into that here a little bit more in detail in a second. And then also behind this front, going into next week, we'll be seeing a little bit more cooler seasonable temperatures and lingering rain chances. So just to give a kind of acknowledgement to the tropics. Also, we are still monitoring a developing hurricane in the Caribbean Sea, but that system is expected to remain in the Caribbean Sea through early next week and is not anticipated to reach the Gulf, period. So this system will likely stay out of our area. No local impacts expected from this system. And we can rest assured as well that there is no additional development expected anywhere in the Gulf or the rest of the Atlantic Basin through at least the next 7 days. So as we round out the end of October, we're looking like we're better and better odds of not seeing a named system this year. So that is good news. Moving into our minor coastal flooding concerns, like I was just talking about, mainly for east and southeast facing shores of coastal Louisiana and coastal Mississippi. Here are the 2 gauges, Shell Beach and Waveland as examples, kind of showing your 1 to 2 feet of inundation above normally dry ground expected to begin on Friday night and peak around Saturday night into early Sunday morning in those locations. Mainly peaking obviously during your high tide cycles especially. Moving into the frontal system and its impacts with regards to severe weather and heavy rainfall potential. Generally the forecast right now is calling for about 1 to 3 inches of rain over that 2-day period, starting Saturday morning and continuing through late Sunday night. And that's just the general period for this rainfall forecast. Could see some locally higher amounts, upwards of 4 to 5 inches, especially west of the 55 corridor. Really talking about your areas, closer to the Baton Rouge Metro, up into the areas of Southwest Mississippi as well. Those areas would be the highest likelihood of seeing anything that's greater than 3 inches during that time period. And this will come in the form of 2 main kind of waves of showers and storms. The first one being a little bit weaker on Saturday afternoon into Sunday night, kind of just some remnant storms that had moved across Texas the morning prior. And then on Sunday morning and into midday, we see kind of the main wave with the front come through, which could provide some stronger impacts with regards to heavy rain and thunderstorms. So here's your excessive rainfall outlook for Saturday, and that kind of illustrates that where that threat would be is mainly west of the I-55 corridor, closer to the Atchafalaya Basin and western parts of the state for Saturday, just mainly seeing kind of those lingering impacts as the remnants of that first wave of storms moves into our area. Really, from that perspective, very isolated flooding would be the main impact, if anything. But getting into Sunday, could see a little bit more widespread, I say widespread, more isolated to scattered type of nature of the flooded areas of urban areas and poor drainage areas, covering most of our area from that 7 a.m. Sunday period through that's supposed to say 7 a.m. Monday, not Saturday. I'll make that correction later. And then moving into the severe weather aspect, isolating your 2 different waves. Your first round, like I said, is going to be more of decaying storms moving into our area, maybe some pop-up stuff right ahead of that first wave on Saturday afternoon, mainly for I-55 and west. Lightning, a few brief downpours, and gusty winds would be the primary impact. When we talk about the severe weather aspect, it's really not going to be a high impact type of severe weather threat from this first wave. But we do have to be monitoring the second wave There's a lot of uncertainty still with regards to timing and also whether there's going to be enough instability to really fuel this second wave. But if there is indication that if there is instability in the area, we would be able to be seeing a little bit higher of a threat for severe weather on Sunday morning, continuing through the day. So right now there's nothing outlooked for Sunday. It's a little bit too far out of the range and too uncertain at this range, but it's important to stay tuned tomorrow into the next couple of days. Wouldn't be shocked to see a marginal or even slight risk introduced if we do get better confidence in there being instability to fuel those storms and make them stronger and more severe. So that's something to keep in mind, especially for Sunday when it comes to the severe weather threat. As we get into the longer range next week, like I said, we have that frontal passage and potentially a reinforcing front as well, which will keep our temperatures more seasonable, closer to average, if not a little bit below average. Some nice crisp mornings, and generally speaking, drier on the drier side, but closer to normal after this wave of locally heavy rainfall and stuff this weekend, which hopefully could put a dent in some of the drought conditions, although your heaviest rainfalls being west of 55 obviously doesn't help our folks over in coastal Mississippi, which are seeing severe drought conditions persist. Abnormally dry conditions did expand on this latest update, but overall drought conditions are unchanged from the last update. So to recap, expecting minor coastal flooding for areas that are east and southeast facing shores starting Friday night, but peaking on Saturday night with inundation above normally dry ground of 1 to 2 feet. Frontal system passing this weekend should bring some needed rain for some areas, but hopefully not too much in too little time, which it could cause some locally heavy rainfall, especially for our poor drainage in urban areas. And then monitoring obviously that two different rounds of storms, one beginning on Saturday night going into, or Saturday evening going into Saturday night, and then the second wave on Sunday, which could provide a little bit more impactful severe weather and strong storms on Sunday, depending on if we get better confidence that there'll be enough instability to fuel those storms. So that'll be something to stay tuned for in the forecast. Beyond that, obviously just kind of getting more post-frontal, cooling off, and maybe drying out a little bit, getting into the middle of next week. So with that, that's the rundown for this week's weather briefing. Go ahead and take any questions that you guys have now.